Please take your seats. Call this meeting to order. Mr. City Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Viscara,
Here.
Commissioner Suvisant, Commissioner Lama,
Here.
Vice Mayor Joseph,
Present.
Mayor Svechin,
Here.
all members present, ma'am.
Thank you. If everyone could please stand for the honor guard. Remain standing. Carla, would you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Retire the colors. May be seated. City Clerk?
Okay, so we have Rabbi Barron for the invocation.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you.
Good evening.
Dear God, Master of the universe, we stand humbled before you this evening as we recognize all of your blessings that you have bestowed upon us collectively as a community and individually as private citizens. We recognize the blessings of living in a democratic country, and we do not take this for granted. We're mindful of the fact that you have blessed this city with wonderful leadership, direction, dedication, and guiding spirit, which has resulted in the many successful achievements over the last 25 years here in Sunny Isles Beach, and we praise you for this. We recognize that we are gathered before you this evening in pursuit of fulfilling your wishes, as you, dear God, empowered humanity with 7 basic universal laws after the great flood of Noah. These laws were once again reaffirmed by Moses at Mount Sinai to be taught to all of humanity, universal laws that provide a framework of law and order and justice which will allow humanity to settle the earth in a civilized manner. We recognize that we have been entrusted by the citizens of Sunny Isles Beach to perform this sacred duty. We recognize that our decisions will have a lasting impact far into the future. So therefore, Almighty God, please provide us with a consciousness to constantly be aware of your presence so that we are consistent to our mandate. Please grant us the wisdom, intuition, and sensitivity to succeed so that we leave a legacy of having a positive impact upon society for many generations to come. Please guide our police department and city staff to make the right decisions with honesty, integrity, and knowledge for all of our citizens into the future. And may they continue to serve as positive role models for our beautiful community. Almighty God, in these times we do not take our safety and security for granted. Protect our police force, our servicemen and women, serving domestically and overseas in the name of freedom and democracy. Please give them the peace of mind, insight, and intuition to be successful. May everyone gathered here tonight and all the residents of Sunny Isles Beach be granted with good health, peace of mind, and prosperity. And let us say amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, what's next?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for January 19th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Okay, next we play the mayor's opening message.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being here tonight. Please turn off or mute any electronic devices to avoid interrupting these proceedings. In all issues that come before the City Commission, we ask that everyone show mutual respect for one another by listening quietly to each person speaking, and that everyone refrain from any clapping, heckling, or verbal outbursts in favor or in opposition to a speaker. Individuals that do not adhere to Chapter 74, Rules of Procedure of the Code, particularly Section 74-21, decorum, shall be barred from further appearance before the Commission. Individuals who want to speak on any item on the agenda are asked to fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the City Clerk before the item is called. Speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. If you speak out of turn without permission from the chair and/or do not cease speaking after one warning, you will be escorted out of the chambers.
Thank you. I just want to add to that, Commissioner Stuyvesant wasn't at the last meeting, but for those that weren't here, we're going to stick really strictly to the rules of decorum because I think that it's really important that we respect each other, and us here on the dais are going to show by example how we're going to stick to these rules. So I'm going to periodically remind you that if you would like to speak to an item, please fill out the speaker card before the item is called, and if you decide later on you don't want to, at least you've already filled it out. So they're in the back. I believe there's 3 different cards. Grab some if you're thinking about speaking about something. And please direct all of your comments to the chair, not to any one of the commissioners or anyone by name. Okay, next item, please.
Okay, next item is the order of business. We have 2 changes to the agenda. Both of them are add-ons and both of them are discussion items. 12B is a discussion regarding supporting House Bill 401, which relates to the sovereign immunity limits, and that's by Commissioner Vizcarra. And 12C is a discussion regarding the police station requested by Commissioner Lama.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item?
Okay, next item is, so what we're doing now, Mayor, is in order to have the meetings move along a lot smoother and less interruptions, any proclamations that are presented during the time in between each meeting, we will just give like a brief summary of what the items or what the proclamations were issued. So for this preceding month, a proclamation was issued in honor of Black History Month, and that was requested by Commissioner Vizcarra. And a proclamation regarding Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month was also issued at the request of Commissioner Lama.
Great, thank you. Next item?
Next item is ordinance for second reading. 9A is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, adopting the Sunny Isles Beach Comprehensive Plan text-based amendments, creating recreation, open space, and conservation future land use categories, providing for severability, providing for repealer, providing for transmittal to the state planning agency, and providing for an effective date. And this is second and final reading.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Tonight for your consideration is the second reading of an ordinance to adopt a text-based amendment to the future land use element of the comprehensive plan, specifically policy 14B. to create definitions for the recreation, open space, and conservation future land use categories. For a little bit of background, the comprehensive plan was adopted in the year 2000, and it included the city's first future land use map. On that map were areas in the city designated as recreation, open space, and as conservation. However, the accompanying policies in the future land use element did not provide definitions for those two categories. Florida statute does require that every future land use category depicted on the map must be defined in terms of uses allowed and the maximum development intensity or densities. This appears to have been an inadvertent omission from the original comprehensive plan and has carried forward to today's plan. So this text amendment is a corrective action, creating definitions for the two categories. The proposed definition for recreation open space states that the allowable uses includes active and passive parks with a maximum buildable floor area ratio of 2.0. And the proposed definition for conservation states that the allowable uses include educational and passive recreation uses, and there is no allowable floor area because development is not permissible on conservation lands. This amendment was transmitted to the state and external agencies for review, and no comments or objections were received. So to summarize, this is a housekeeping item to create definitions for the two categories, recreation, open space, and conservation, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Does anyone on the commission have any questions? Commissioner Viscara? Commissioner Lama?
No, I'm good.
Vice
No.
Mayor? Commissioner Stuyvesant? No? Okay, thank you very much. Need a motion?
Yes, I'll state the motion.
Is there any public comment on this?
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, public comment.
There's no public comment. for
Okay,
this.
thank you.
Okay.
I need a second.
I'm sorry, who was the motion?
I will make the motion.
Vice Mayor and Commissioner.
Okay, this is a roll call. Commissioner Viscara?
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yes.
Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Svechen?
Yes,
The ordinance is adopted.
great, thank you. Next item?
9B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending the coastal management element and future land use element of the adopted City of Sunny Isles Beach Comprehensive Plan pursuant to the evaluation and appraisal of the comprehensive plan, providing for transmittal to the State Land Planning Agency, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement the terms and conditions of this ordinance, providing for an effective date. And this is second and final reading.
Okay, good evening again. This is the second reading to adopt the city's evaluation and appraisal report, or EAR. The EAR is a state requirement for local governments to assess their comprehensive plans every 7 years and determine whether amendments are required to reflect changes that have occurred in state regulations or state statutes. So this ordinance comes into compliance with the peril of flood state legislation from 2015. And it requires that our coastal management element must outline principles to be used to eliminate inappropriate and unsafe development in coastal areas at risk of sea level rise. So this amendment will update the map that depicts Category 1 storm surge vulnerability and adopts new policies to require the consideration of flood risk when the opportunity arises to do so. So such as redevelopment of a property, during new capital improvement projects or in post-disaster recovery. This amendment was transmitted to the state for review, and they responded with no objections. Should this amendment be adopted upon second reading, the city will be in compliance with our EAR obligations, and I'm available if you have questions.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Viscara? Commissioner Lama?
No questions.
Vice Mayor?
No.
No?
question.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Oh, public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, great, I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yes.
Commissioner Viscara?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Svechen?
Yes,
The ordinance is adopted.
great. Now on to resolutions.
Now we're on to resolutions. 10A is a resolution approving an increase in spending authority with Cigna Healthcare, Cigna Dental, IMED, and Mutual of Omaha for health care insurances.
Excuse me, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission. The next two items are related to our annual insurance renewals. This item is a resolution approving an increase in the spending authority for last year's coverage. This money was budgeted and dependent upon the number of people that enrolled in the plan. The increase in enrollment numbers is due to vacant positions being filled and additions of dependents and allowable IRS changes during the plan year. Last year, we received monies back from Cigna to help offset these costs, and this again will be the case this year. So the total will be offset by money back from Cigna based on our claims experience.
Great, thank you. And just for clarification, because I know we discussed this during the agenda review, my question was, how much is the anticipated return for this time, this year? Because there's a estimate that's already out there, correct?
Yes, last year we received $50,000 back.
And this year, do we have an estimate?
This year, we estimate it to be a little bit more based
Okay.
on our claims experience.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any questions from the commission? Any? Do we have any public comment?
No, not for this one, Mayor.
Okay, take a motion.
Yes. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item?
10B is a resolution approving the selection of Cigna Healthcare as a provider of employee health insurance, Cigna Dental as a provider of dental insurance, IMED as a provider of vision care, Mutual of Omaha as a provider of life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment insurance, long-term disability insurance, voluntary short-term disability insurance, and voluntary health insurance for a period of 1 year.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this item is for our annual insurance renewals. Brown & Brown, our insurance provider, our insurance brokers go out to market and negotiate the best possible rate from our insurances, the insurance companies. The insurances we provide are A-rated. Cigna came back with an overall 4.9% increase for medical and 11.7% increase in dental. We are recommending Cigna for health insurance and dental insurance. IMED provided us with a rate lock, and Mutual of Omaha provided us with a rate pass for life, long, short-term care, and disability at no rate increase. We have a representative here from Brown & Brown. I'd like to ask that he be allowed to come up and explain to you a little bit of our process. of
That would be great,
insurance.
please.
Come on up, Mitch. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Thank you for having me. Basically, as Mr. Morse had said, that the increase basically was mitigated. We came down to about a 16% increase was the initial. We did look at the conditions. We did look at your ongoing run rate, which would be the claims versus what your premium that you pay into. We did negotiate that down to 4.9%. There are some chronic conditions within the city, within our employees. Those happen to be diabetes, hypertension, and mental health, which is a growing concern post-COVID for almost any group that we have in the South Florida market and beyond. We have talked about programs to help offset some of those costs in the coming year, which will be offset by third-party programs, which we are looking to implement, which will be handled by Samantha Graveline, who unfortunately was out of town tonight with a wedding. But I represent the practice for all of South Florida and oversee anything. So again, it'll be under my guidance that these programs are implemented in 2023 to help the city and to help curb that medical cost as we move forward.
Great, thank you. I just want to say that I spoke to Samantha and at length because I was concerned about some of these increases since I wasn't here this past year to really have a better understanding, and she was very gracious and explained them. You know, we sat for at least an hour and a half, and she did identify many things that you all can do to help us to bring down those costs, such, programs, health fairs, identifying what you had just mentioned. So I feel much more comfortable with it than I did before. And obviously she's not here, she's at a wedding, but she can't speak to everyone. But I know that the city manager has said that if there is interest, that you'll be able to provide that additional information from her.
Certainly,
from
and there will
the
be
public.
further meetings with our teammates that are here in South Florida to make sure we accommodate those needs and set the appropriate third parties in place to help the city employees overcome some of these disease states and help them get more of a wellness culture.
Yeah, she had some really interesting ideas about bringing trucks over here, the same as the mammograms, but various doctors and so on and so forth. Are there questions from the commission, Commissioner Vizcarra, Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, I have a question. Hi. So what are some of the programs you implement in order for us to mitigate some of these cost increases? Just curious to know.
So within diabetic or a hypertensive patient population, there's constant care management, which is outreach, which can be done either by the carrier, which sometimes is not that effective, but there are third parties that will do more of an outreach, because as we know, with those certain conditions, it's compliance with your medications and ongoing testing and ongoing visits. If a patient is non-responsive to those, then we find out that their cost of care increases dramatically. So by looking at third parties and using some of the wellness fund to be able to offset those parties, to be able to create a care outreach, then those patients hopefully will become more compliant, which will lead to a healthier lifestyle.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Now I understand why a lot of these insurance carriers are pushing these type of wellness and, periodic checkups and all of that. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor?
I happen not to be, but do you offer, for diabetics, do you offer Dexcom machines and all?
We do through some of the carriers that we're talking about. Through the third parties, they'll provide Dexcom machines, they'll provide testing kits and test strips at no cost.
Right.
So those are ongoing programs, and we can actually get those through Cigna, and that's part of the outreach that Cigna does from their care management team.
Right.
It's just a matter of identifying the city employee and making sure they're compliant to follow through with that.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Sturmson? And something interesting that she had mentioned to me is one of the good things about our city is that we have a lot of lifeguards. So that apparently brings down the cost because they're so young. So.
We need those young people.
We do need the young people. Okay, great. Are there any public speakers?
Yes, we do. Ari Steiger.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Ari Steiger, 262 Atlantic Island. I've been talking to some of the officers here, and they said the participation of their share of their health care is high. It's over $1,000 per family. I was talking to a friend of mine at the sheriff, at the Broward Sheriff Office, and they have a better program than the city has for less money, for a lot less money. They pay about $650 to $700 per family. Why don't the city can check with Broward County Sheriff and see what program they have for the same money or less money than this? So I suggest to check with Broward Sheriff Office who the carrier is, or Fort Lauderdale or whatever,
Okay,
and check on it.
thank you. And Ari, I know that you are very active, and so if you are interested in speaking to our representative and talk to her about that, that would be great, because I asked that same exact question. And it's apparently our coverage is better than anyone else. And one of the reasons that it's so, wait, you can't talk from there because we can't hear you. But in any case, we can set it up so that you can get more information and that we can even make that information available to the public if they were interested in hearing it.
I'm not an insurance expert. So
You can't talk from there, Ari. We have to close caption it, so.
I'm not in the insurance business. I don't know nothing about insurance. By talking to the police officers here, and they pay over $1,000 for copay, plus whatever the city is paying, compared to Broward Sheriff, which my friend is paying $650 for the family. It's a big difference. And the coverage, according to them, is higher than the coverage that we have here.
Right.
So
Okay.
it doesn't hurt to check.
If I could just say, Ari, that from being a private business owner, you always have to compare apples to apples.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
But the sheriff
when you look at things,
department
you're
has
comparing
much
apples
more
to
people.
oranges.
The sheriff department has much more police officers than we have.
Could we just have all conversations through the chair, please? We're trying to keep decorum here, so we're not going to go back and forth. I appreciate the comment, but absolutely, we'll follow up with you. Okay,
Apple to apple, that's all.
thank you. Any more public comment? Okay, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Next item.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the chief of police in accordance with the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984 to expend partial forfeiture funds from the Department of Justice federal forfeiture account for the purchase of firearms for use by the police department.
Good evening. The chief's losing his voice, so I'll be addressing you. The police department is seeking approval to expand partial Department of Justice forfeiture funds to purchase pistols, rifles, pistol accessories, and rifle accessories in an amount not to exceed $151,645.95. The new firearms and accessories will replace our current firearms and will improve accuracy. In an environment as heavily populated as Sunny Isles Beach, accuracy is of paramount importance. This purchase will also include accessories such as holsters, lights, etc., and we are seeking to purchase an additional 15 Colt M4 rifles for our newly hired officers, which I'm happy to say we're presently completely staffed.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Viscar? Commissioner Lama? Vice Mayor?
No.
Commissioner Sevison? Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, take a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item is 10D, a resolution approving the purchase of firearms from Borelli Inc. in an amount not to exceed $120,185.95.
So the police department is seeking approval to utilize the aforementioned forfeiture funds to purchase rifles, rifle accessories, and pistol accessories from Borelli Inc. in the amount of $120,185.95 via GSA contract.
Thank you. Just for the clarification of the viewing public, if you can just explain why these are separated and not together? City Attorney or City Manager, please.
Yes, I can explain. One of the items is approval for the use of forfeiture funds, and the second item is the actual purchase of the firearms.
Great, thank you. Any discussion from the commission?
I just wanted to comment. I thought that this was great. It's so important to have uniformity of weapons and equipment for reasons that you can speak to much better than I can. So I was very happy to see not only a particular item and how it improves your safety, but also that continued path to a certification, which obviously we're happy to support. So I like this item a lot.
Thank you very much for your support.
Commissioner Lama? No. Vice Mayor?
No comment.
Okay, great, I'll take a motion. Oh, a public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Sure, one more.
Oh, there's another one.
Okay, next item is 10E, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with the Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office relating to the Human Trafficking Task Force.
So the police department is seeking approval to enter into a mutual aid agreement with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office Human Trafficking Task Force. This agreement will allow us to detach an investigator part-time to assist with the enforcement of anti-trafficking laws and serve the community in its anti-trafficking efforts. And I want to say, I know it's very supported by our elected officials and our administration, but we've already had a case that would qualify for investigation, and I've brought that to them and are actively working it. So, this is going to be an extreme help for us.
Thank you. Commissioner Viscar, any comments?
Fully support it.
Okay. Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, this is, hopefully it will help us, help the whole region, so we could mitigate this, this calamity.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Severing?
This is very important for me. Last year I visited the headquarters task force. It was very eye-opening to go through the whole building and to see firsthand what they do when they recover the victims. So I had the opportunity, as much as they can, they show us like the areas where they process information, etc. Some areas are sensitive, so we were not allowed to be there. But it was with the state attorneys, with Kathy Rondo Fernandez. So it was amazing to be there. And since last year, I've been sending emails to the chief and speaking to him about it. And recently I went again and I sent another email. I spoke to you guys. So thank you for listening and
Absolutely.
thank you for making our city be part of the task force. It's proud for us to have our logo next to the other municipalities that are part of this task force. So thank you for listening and going the extra mile to do that. And thank you everybody for funding this. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you for your interest in it.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. I also was, I attended the conference, and I'm also assisting in advocating in Tallahassee.
Great.
So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I got to say, obviously, you have a lot of support here, and we really have come a long way in the city in supporting this effort. It's something that is unfortunately, South Florida and Miami, I believe, is number 2 in the country as far as human trafficking is concerned. So this is a big deal, and it's really great that you all are taking this initiative. So do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 10F, a resolution approving the naming of the property located at 158 Collins Avenue, formerly known as the Ritz-Carlton Sales Center, as the Intercoastal Sports Park.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. So as mentioned, we would like to recommend that the property at 15800 Collins Avenue formerly be called the Intercoastal Sports Park.
Okay, any comments from the commission? Commissioner Lama?
No?
No, Commissioner
Very
Viscar?
simple.
Yeah, I figured, but just want to give you the opportunity to speak. Vice Mayor?
It's
Can't
hard
wait
to
to
say.
start playing tennis there one
Okay,
day.
so do we have any public comment?
Yes, we do. David Vertical.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. My name is David Virgil. My address is 17500 North Bay Road, Stanialis Beach. And I just want to know, is this going to be the formal name for the park or just the legal name? Because I feel like it's a little long to say. Yeah.
Okay, so if we, city manager, is there a difference? Are you asking if it's, we normally
Like
don't
on
take
the sign.
questions, but I understand what you're saying, and I think that it's a valid question. Are we putting it on the building?
Yes,
So it's going to say on the build,
it would be, this would be the name of the park, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I was just wondering because I noticed that in the Live and Play magazine, like they came out like last week, it said it would be called Intracoastal Courts, and I felt like that would be better since there's basketball courts, pickleball courts, and a tennis court. It'll make more sense to call it Intracoastal Courts than Intracoastal Sports Park.
I think
Just my
that the
opinion.
idea behind it was just to leave it to that, it can become.
Be more uniform,
Whatever it is that
expand.
it may become, given that we're doing a master plan for parks.
Okay,
But there's always the potential to put in a new sign.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay,
fine, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other?
No, ma'am.
Okay, with that, I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item?
10G is a resolution approving the name of the property located at 215 185th Street, formerly known as the Turnberry Sales Center, as The Spot.
Good evening. So as mentioned, staff would like to recommend the former Turnberry Sales Center to be known as the Spot for teens.
Any comment from the commission? Commissioner Viscara?
I don't love it, but I have nothing better to offer. I feel the same about Intercoastal. And thank you, David, because I kept calling it, I didn't know where I got it from, because I kept calling it Intercoastal Courts and getting all jumbled. So I don't love the spot, sorry, but I have nothing better I can give you. So.
Commissioner Lama?
I'm good with the name.
No comments.
Just waiting to further utilize it. But yes, the name is fine.
Great.
Mayor, Gail, could you please share how the spot name came to be?
Came to life.
So originally, it was called The Place, and our teens, when they met during Teen Talk for their food, they actually decided they liked The Spot better. So we really let them decide on the name and decided to push it through.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
it's
public comment?
It's popular between the teenagers, yeah.
No public speakers for this
Okay.
one.
I'll take a motion.
So move.
Second?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 10H is a resolution approving a second amendment to the agreement with the amusement source for event rides rental.
Still me. So Amusement Source, we went into contract with them, a 2-year contract with them last year, in 2021, and we are looking to exercise our first renewal with them, not to exceed another $60,000 for use of their amusement rides at our events.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the commission? Commissioner Viscar, Commissioner Lama, Vice Mayor, Commissioner
No.
Stuyvesant? Nope. We have any public speakers?
No speakers.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Yes, motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
10I is a resolution awarding invitation to bid number 221202 and approving an agreement with Eagle Eye Officiating LLC for sports officiating and scorekeeping services.
So the city went out to put out an invitation to bid, and we received 2 responses. We would like to award our bid to Eagle Eye Officiating. They were the lowest bidder, the most responsive, and we have worked with them before. They're our current officiating company that we work with.
So, quick question. This is for how many years, this amount?
This is for a total of 3 years with a not-to-exceed amount of $126,000.
And is this covered by the fees that are paid for the sports programming?
This comes out of our operational budget.
But is it covered by the fees
Yes.
that so
Yes.
when they sign up? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we
Yeah.
weren't paying, because it looked like a really large number to me, and I thought, that's a great salary that someone's making just to come to a
it's
few
not.
games, but, okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Any questions from the commission? Nope.
No.
Nope. All right. Any public comment?
No public comment.
I'll take a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
10J is a resolution approving a parking license agreement between the City of Sunny Isles Beach and Regalia Beach Developers for use of a portion of the parking lot underneath the William Lehman Causeway.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a renewal of a parking agreement for 20 spaces, $250 per space, and the agreement is we can terminate the agreement at any time.
So this is similar to what we did last month. It does not lock us into anything, and it's well over whatever's normally been paid in the past, correct?
Yes, Mayor.
All right. Do we have any comments from the commission? Questions?
How many spaces do we currently have available that other condos can come to us for?
We have some other spaces available. I couldn't give you the exact number, but it's on a first-come, first-served basis. So anyone that would be interested, and we provide in the contract that it can be terminated at any time.
Right, great. And we also have spaces for residents who have large RVs and all?
Yes, we do, yes.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Amy and Code is working on a full parking usage study. It will be ready by the end of this month.
Great. Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 10K is a resolution expressing support for House Bill 1, which revises provisions relating to Family Empowerment Scholarship Program, Florida Tax Credit Scholarship Program, and part-time enrollment in public schools.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, this is your item.
Yeah, okay, so the idea in a nutshell of this bill is to make sure that the money is going to be following the children. And it will empower kids that are being homeschooled, also parents that they want to choose to take their kids to private school or religious school. So it's still in, of course, in committees. But I would like us to support that bill because, like I said, the money will be following the child. So if a parent, it hasn't been approved, but the idea is that if a parent decides to keep their kids at home for homeschool, they're going to be receiving a tax credit and money that is right now allocated to their school district. Considering what's been happening in our school, I think this bill comes like a gift for us. Between the, and to open a little bit the information about that, yesterday I had an emergency meeting with top leadership of the Miami-Dade County Public School, and we decided to take some immediate action for our school. I know this is not related to the bill, but I'm connecting it because right now our parents don't have a choice. Right now, if a parent's going to enroll their child, a parent from Sunny Isles, if they try to enroll their child in our school, they're going to be directed to out of city, to Highland Oaks and Ojos. And I'm not saying anything against those schools, but it's very unfortunate that our children right now cannot be enrolled in our school. So between the actions that they're going to be taking in place immediately, I want to share with everybody is that they are going to be bringing 15 new teachers that are being deployed immediately to our school here in Norman Errol Cobb. Also, 2 specialized extra custodians, and during the weekends, we're going to be having master custodians, people that has more specific tasks about how to control certain situations that they've been happening in the school. That'll be during the weekends. Also, we're going to have an exceptional student education coordinator on site, which is for the special needs students. We are going to have a new extra resource officer, and they are going to be hosting for the first time a hiring fair. It's going to be a fair to try to get new people to work in our school. They had never done this apparently, so they're going to do a hiring fair for Norman Errol Cobb, for the staff, to get staff for Norman Errol Cobb. Another thing that is going to be, that is happening already, is that they are involving the federal and state compliance office to help them with the address verification process. All this, having said all this, our consensus and with the top leadership and management of the schools is that the address verification is the only solution to be able to remove the children that are coming to our school, that they are out of the boundaries. For that, we're going to be working in changing policies, which I'm not going to right now advertise them until we are ready, because they're going to be very creative, and we don't want to tell in advance so that people know how to cheat those policies. We are sharing some data they didn't have access before. And my point is that we have to work together to give our children the choice to go to their school where they belong. And this bill is about school choice. So I think it's appropriate to us to right now give that freedom to the parents, to the children, and hopefully we can have the consensus to support that bill and send it to Tallahassee.
Great. Is there any questions from the?
So I have a question.
One moment, Commissioner Viscar.
I do. This is a lengthy bill, and I haven't been able to go through it carefully. So my assumption is that well, if I'm a Hollywood parent and I choose for my kid to come to Sunny Isles, do I get to do that?
Yes.
Right. I mean, my assumption is that you go to the school that's in your area. And if you don't want to go to your school, then what happens? Like, how does that play out? Because I feel like, well, then I'm the Hollywood parent who's going to send my kid to Sunny Isles then with that bill. And
well,
so I know I'm missing something. What am I missing?
Yeah, okay, the way it's right now written is that for you to be able to go to any school in the state of Florida, you can't do that. We have a school choice as it is right now. Mm-hmm. But there is one provision that school has to be under capacity. And
okay.
So if there is less than 100% capacity in that school, then you can request that transfer. And they study the transfer in a one-on-one case. I cannot speak about the whole school system, but that's what the law says. So right now you have that choice. This specific bill is for the money to follow the child. So that being said, so that kid that is coming from Broward, it might be coming out to Miami-Dade County, the money is going to go with him. But also, if you decide that you want to homeschool your child for any reason, for work-related issues or any other, you can now decide that, and also you're going to get receiving a tax credit for your child while you are homeschooling. Like I say, it hasn't been approved, and there is still pushing back and forth different forces, but that is the idea. That's the way. Also, like if you read the staff notes, that's like how they describe it. Like the money is going to be following the child. So kind of wherever the child goes, that little piggy bank is going to be allocated to the kids. including if you stay at home as a homeschool child.
Or private school if you decide.
Religious school,
And then
private school.
if that piggy bank is not enough to pay that tuition, the parents make up the difference.
I will assume that, yeah.
And then who's in opposition? Or those are the pros. Give us a con.
House Bill 1, so it's worked by the Speaker of the House and also by the Senate. So I hope that there is a big consensus to pass the bill.
I'll answer that as well, because I'm going to let Vice Mayor Joseph make his comments, and if we
No,
just remind everything should be going through the
My
chair.
comment was the same as
Okay.
Commissioner Viscara.
Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, I need to, learn more about this subject. This is not the first time this type of bill comes up. Is this pretty much similar to the school vouchers for people? I mean, it sounds very similar. It looks like me as a parent can take a school voucher or a credit and then take that money and use it for a private school, correct? That's one, right?
That's kind of the idea.
That's kind of the idea, okay. Yeah, we'll have to read more on it. Some of the questions I have, because obviously you're taking public funds, taxpayer funds, you're giving it to people to pay a private institution. That's one. If you send them to private school.
The funds are already there.
Huh?
The funds are already allocated. Either they're going to go with the child or not.
No, I understand that they're going to go
Can
to
I
the
just stop you for a
child.
second?
Yeah.
I just want to remind you to please, everything through the chair so that we can capture
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
closed captioning. But I can answer a lot of those questions
Okay.
as well.
Yeah. And then my question is, like, if child A goes to a private school, and that school is getting taxpayer funds, to send that kid to the school, would that private school be open to, let's say, inspections, making sure that that private school is up to certain standards, et cetera, et cetera? These are some, I'm just talking out loud, some of the questions I have. I need to read more on the bill. Yeah, I'm on the fence. I mean, on one end, I like it, and on the other end, there's certain things that I need to understand on it. But yeah, I would need to read upon it more.
So I'm just going to answer some of these questions because I had a lengthy conversation about this on Monday at actually a Miami-Dade County Citizens Coalition meeting. This bill already exists, so there is something in place. What this changes is that it removes some of the criteria. So right now, you have to hit a certain poverty level in order to qualify for this money. This removes the economic barrier, and it also removes, for instance, you have Hope scholarships, McKay scholarships that are all combined, which require that if you have a child that has special needs or a child that was bullied, that you can take your FTE money. At this point, it's $7,500. This does not guarantee that every parent that wants to go to a private school is going to get that money. Right now, there's something like hundreds of children with special needs that are on a waiting list. So they're still going to get preferential treatment. You're not going to be kicking them off of that list. And some of the cons, the Commissioner Viscara, because I pushed back on the Miami-Dade County schools and I said, why would this be a bad thing? And their response, in my opinion, was not a good response because they were wrong. I did read the bill, and they said there's no accountability. This does absolutely require accountability from whoever gets this money, and it's not so easy that if you decide to homeschool your kid, all of a sudden you're going to get a check for $7,500. You have very specific things that you can use that money for, and you have to show that you're using it for the proper things, and so that you're not just, in fact, in the bill it says you cannot go and give it to some private vendor who is going to then give the parent a rebate, so sort of trying to recoup that money. And ultimately, to your comment about removing the money from the public schools, the argument is that this will create better public schools. If my child is leaving the school for the reasons that you said, which is not associated with this bill, but are valid reasons like our school, then maybe it's going to force these public schools to do better. It creates a more competitive environment, but yes, it does take it from the big pot, but it allows parent choice, and then you have to take into account There's lots of people that pay for taxes for the school board that don't have any kids in school. And they're not arguing to get their money back. They're still going to be paying that money. So it's not necessarily you're taking your money. You're taking, we're all
The
putting in their
allocation
share.
for your kids,
Yeah,
I understand.
exactly. And this is just in support of the bill. Obviously, we don't have any actual say in what we do with our own school.
If I may.
Yes, go ahead.
One of the, not the cons, but who's lobbying heavily against it is the unions. The unions don't want to lose this money. They want the money to go to the school boards, to keep the thing, the status quo. So the unions is maybe one of the reasons why it hasn't been that popular in the past is because of the unions. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the arguments I've heard against that is that it's going to gut the public school system. Eventually it's going to gut it. So I guess the philosophical question is, do we work to improve the public schools, or do we go this route, or we just give choices? So I personally will have to read the bill and study the subject a little bit more. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I believe also that low-income families are left at a deficit and are slightly misled because the amount of the vouchers don't allow them, because they can't afford to make up the deficit for, that the private school charges.
Well, not necessarily, because most of the private schools have scholarships based on your economic circumstances. So I don't know, because I don't have a child in private school, but I think that this is not meant to in any way punish low-income families. They're actually already included. So this is not changing any of that. This is just to provide additional resources for those that have decided that perhaps their local school is no longer a good choice for them. Correct. And there's a lot of parameters in here that prevent it from hurting anyone. And I feel very comfortable that the people that are involved in this on both sides are going to fight very hard, because ultimately it's the kids that I believe that they're trying to help. How it turns out as far as the teachers and the unions, I think it's time for a change.
Yeah, but another thing is that they are not promoting a private school or religious school. That's not the intention of the bill either. And remember also that there is a lot of money right now also being allocated to the magnet schools. And these magnet schools are usually in the low-income areas to also facilitate for children of those areas to go to those specialized schools. So if anything, I think in the school system in America in general, it's not bad for low-income people. I think we have all amazing opportunities. They give you transportation, meals, etc. So that's, I believe, is not the intention of the bill. Again, and it's not the intention either to promote private schools. That's not what they are doing this. If anything, it's a little bit more freedom for the parents, and they are working in the systems of accountability. If they're going to be taking standardized tests, it's not standard tests anymore, but some kind of test to make sure that the children, even if they're homeschooled, they're going to be presenting, that they're going to be up to in the same level that the kids are going to regular school. Like the mayor said, there is so many details, the devil's in the details in this case, but in general, and what the Commissioner Lama was saying, what about if it's going to take funds from our public school system? Look what we have right now. We have our school open since 2008, and at this point, it's close to new registration for our children. So, and it's not for lack of resources. It's maybe because of the bureaucracy that they haven't acted upon need when the issue was created. And we know on the record, because of different resolutions that thank God they were passed here in the city back in the days, since 2011, we've been overcrowded. 12 years later, and with multiple moments trying to find the solution, now the solution is what? To cut our freedom, our liberties. So, yeah, maybe something needs to be checked. And maybe taking some resources will be that check that they need.
Unfortunately, the good intentions of a lot of these programs don't promote integration.
Vice Mayor.
Sorry.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Escarra.
the idea of, it sounds like this is creating accountability where it hasn't been. And where the parents and the families are, it's like you just given the menu and this is your menu. Now it's different. Now we're going to have multiple menus, under this idea, and it's empowering families and making because it's a monster. We're what, like the second largest school district
Yes.
in the country. I mean, it's a monster bureaucracy going on.
Third.
And I think, speaking to our school, like I can see how it can be problematic in other scenarios, but speaking to our school, they have not met our needs, despite our trying to bring things to their attention repeatedly, and apparently it takes 12 years, for the memo to get through. So, in a scenario like that, I feel that it's certainly worth considering, because asking pretty please doesn't create the pressure, but threatening to like vote with our dollars, maybe that creates the pressure that might solve our problem. I worry about unintended consequences, scenarios that I'm not thinking about in other places, but I think, there's some logic to supporting it, to support from this city.
Okay. Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
All right, so I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're aye? You're in? Okay, you're in. You're in.
I mean, for everything, for every action, there's a reaction. So I think that there's got to be thought around what would be the unintended consequences, like Commissioner Vizcarra said.
And that's why
it's
they were.
not a new subject. I mean, this has been going around for many, many years. And I really don't know what the answer is regarding public schools. Obviously, they are in decline, and to be honest with you, I've seen cases with private schools that are not up to standards. They're not that good either. So you have money being spent there that I think it's also being wasted, perhaps, yeah. There's no accountability on the part of private schools a lot of times.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Stuyvesant. Next item?
And I just want to say that's why there's a provision for amendments.
Okay. Next item?
Next item is 10L, a resolution expressing support for House Bill 269, which prohibits the distribution of certain materials evidencing religious or ethnic animus and enhances criminal penalties for persons who commit these violations.
Do you have the pictures that you can post up there?
Yes, Mike.
Okay. So this is my item. I recently I was part of a forum regarding anti-Semitism. It should not be a surprise to anyone that the known, at least known and reported instances of anti-Semitism has increased in the upper 30% from last year from the year before. And what has recently happened, what you're seeing are pictures that were distributed. So these were flyers that were distributed in West Palm Beach on actual private property of homeowners. There's another one where they also projected some hate speech on buildings. And this is done by an organization that was started in California. But as we all know, everyone from California and New York moved here. So now they're stationed here. They think this is a great place to be doing this. So right now in Tallahassee, there is a push to change the law because the argument was, and I think all of us up here are proponents of First Amendment. The argument was, well, this is First Amendment. So yes, you can say all the horrible, disgusting things that you want. You just can't throw it on people's private property. And you can't project it on private buildings. And if you do, this ups the ante and this becomes a serious crime. And I wanted to take the time to show you this so it doesn't, it has the word litter in it. Because regrettably, that's the way that they're going to try to get around this, is to make it an anti-litter law on people's private property. So I think that, as we know, hate against one group of people becomes hate against all groups of people. And so we would be the first municipality to be supporting this bill. I know it has a lot of support on both the House and the Senate and the governor as well. So I ask for this commission to support it as well. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Commissioner Vizcarra?
Yeah, I'm looking at the website. Is it moving through committees? What's the traction?
Yes, absolutely. So right now, I think it's already been presented on both sides, the last that I checked, or that last that it was presented to me. But they are asking for support from municipalities just to bolster it. But they feel very comfortable that they're going to get support from everyone because it is being co-sponsored by different members on both sides, whether they be Christian, Catholic, or Jewish.
So I'm looking at this, and it says the first one is the Florida litter law, but it also touches on stalking, criminal mischief, and disturbing schools and religious and other assemblies. So it would hopefully. So this is a criminal.
Yes, it would become criminal.
This is a criminal thing.
Right.
Okay.
Commissioner Lama, any questions?
No questions. I think this is good.
Any questions?
I'll make an emphatic motion.
Wait, let Commissioner.
was also working on it, but I would have to confirm with them. I think they're passing like a similar resolution as well.
Right, they've been, yeah, they've all been.
I'm pretty sure
they would.
they're working on it. So, yeah, this is, for me also is a no-brainer. I think we need this, Hate cannot be condemned in any way, shape, or form. And for any.
Must be condemned.
No, I mean, it should not be allowed. It has to be condemned.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to add, we actually had this happen, I think it was a year ago, in
thinking
Golden
that was on
Shores. We
Yeah,
had the
we
same
had it.
exact, I don't know if it was Atlantic Isle as well. And so this is a group that is very organized, and this unfortunately is the only way to get them. Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Emphatic motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item is 10M, a resolution ratifying an increase in spending authority with Texas Bus Sales for the purchase of a 2020 Eldorado Aerolite shuttle bus.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. We had ordered a bus back in 2020. It was going to be a 2020 bus chassis. At that time, the price was $155,631. Last summer, we received notice that that price was going to increase. It has been significantly delayed, the receipt of this particular bus. The price has now risen to a final price of $168,758.40. At the time this original purchase order and resolution was approved by the commission, we had put a $5,000 contingency in there. The price has risen by $13,000. The new resolution that is before you for approval causes the differential there, the $13,000 minus the $5,000 that we had in contingency, and asks you for the $8,000 and a few dollars difference. In addition, one of the questions I had received during agenda reviews was what is the year of the bus we are actually going to receive? This was originally a 2020 bus. We verified that it is a 2022 that has gone into production. The chassis is a 2022 that has gone into production in February. So we will be receiving a bus that is a 2022, not a 2020. Also, in addition, there was something else I was going to say, and now it just escaped me. I apologize. Somebody else had asked one more question. Do you have any questions for me?
So are we certain this is the final price?
We are certain this is the final price. The bus is in production. We anticipate receiving it around April 1st.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only concern during the agenda review, because I was concerned that if we already added 5,000 last summer and now we're adding another 6, 7, was it 8? Are we going to keep coming back for more?
Which is why we didn't come to you until now, until we knew what the final price was going to be.
And what is the lifespan the expected lifespan of this bus?
7 years.
Okay, great. Are there Commissioner Viscar, do you have any questions?
And this is a piggyback also. That was one of the other questions that was asked to me in agenda reviews, is this is a piggyback contract, so the price increase was part of a piggyback contract. I apologize.
Vice Mayor, go
So
ahead.
this is a 2023,
22.
No.
22, and when do the 2024s come out? Do we know?
I do not know the answer to that question, sir.
All right.
But this,
But in any
the
event,
chassis
they
and the
have us
production
by
of
the
these
neck,
chassis
so-
has been significantly
Yeah.
delayed, hence why we
Right.
had to wait for a chassis to be built to be able to
Exactly.
drop into production for them to assemble all the components onto. That's why we're working with the 2022. This is all part of the supply chain delays that we're facing on every type of vehicle that we are attempting to purchase right now.
And they're on schedule for April delivery?
As of right now, we are on schedule for an April delivery to the dealer for paint.
Right.
Then
Oh.
at paint, they have to paint the bus
Right.
our appropriate color. So we hope for I'm hoping it comes by April 1, but it could be a week or two given the painting.
Commissioner Stuyvesant? No? Okay. Commissioner Lama? No? Okay.
Thank you very
I'll take a
much.
motion.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, do we have any public comment?
Ari Steiger.
Okay.
Harry Steiger, 262 Atlantic Island. Why doesn't the city look into the freebie that Aventura has and the city of North Miami just got it too? The freebie, is there so many people riding the bus? Do you have any idea what's the amount of people are riding the bus?
So normally, we don't go back and forth, but I'm going to entertain this because this was actually asked during agenda review because it's a valid question. So Deputy City Manager, would you please respond to that? But we're not going to go back and forth because your time is going.
With freebie, it's free
Wait,
to the
let her-
citizen
let-
and it doesn't cost
Let
any
the
money
Deputy Manager answer.
to the citizen. I think we are a smaller city than Aventura, and I see them everywhere. I mean, you wait 10 minutes and they're in your house picking you up.
Go ahead.
So,
Rather spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on bus and bus manager and bus maintenance, and worth looking into.
would you like me to
Yes,
answer?
please, go ahead.
Okay. So freebie does cost the city. We did get quotes to do weekend service only, and we did put that in the budget for this year. It's $250,000 is what we budgeted for just for weekends. The Monday through Friday service would stay in a shuttle bus. However, we haven't launched that yet. Two reasons. One, we're doing a transit study to see what our residents are really looking for, what their need is. And the study and a survey is required if we want to use our CITT funds to help fund the freebie. So we are in the process of the transit study. If it comes back that that is a recommendation, we do have money budgeted to do that. We would then have to go to CITT to make sure that we could get approval from them, amend our interlocal agreement with them to be able to use that money for that.
Great.
Well, if City of Aventura is doing it, City of North Miami Beach just got into it.
So-
Rather spending the hundreds of thousands of dollars on maintenance and buses and drivers and everything else, it's worth looking into.
I think we're all in agreement that we don't want to spend excess money, and we're going to be looking at all the options once we get more information about what the residents want. And I encourage you to, and I know you will, be at the budget meetings to bring this up as well as we start going into next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
I'll take a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item.
Okay, next item, we are now in discussions. The first one is 12A, discussion regarding a creation of a 501c3 for municipal purposes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yeah, okay. So I attended a few workshops about crisis management when something bad happens in the city, and not necessarily when something bad happens, but the idea of having this 501c3 is that to have something ready for charitable and also for donations purposes. So, for example, the one in Orlando, that's one of the persons that were in the workshop that I attended, they said that when the tragedy in the nightclub happens, they were already ready with this this 501c3 established for years. They didn't establish it in I think it was in 2018 or 2016 what happened, the tragedy. So I already had it ready, and immediately when they were coping with all the situations, all the donations were being funneled through this 501c3. I think it's sounding bad again. But, okay, so let me see.
Can everyone just please turn off your phones, because we seem to be having some sort of
Yeah, some
issue with
feedback.
the sound.
Okay.
If we have to, they'll
hear
turn it
better.
down, and then you can just have to speak up.
Okay, so the idea is to have way to receive donations from the public, from other organizations, to have that in place and ready, God forbid, if or when something bad happens. But also, if somebody wants to donate, let's say for the police department, I put that as an example, like we lost Rocco a few weeks ago, even though he was in retirement. Maybe somebody wants to help get a new K9 officer, dog. So the idea of this organization is to be able to receive the money to the city and then channel the money through different needs that we may have. So I put the one in Orlando as an example. It's called Strengthen Orlando. There are the municipalities that have it. During my agenda review, I learned that we tried this twice in the past and it didn't work. So I hope that we can learn from our mistakes and now we can get it right this third time. So for that, I open for your comments.
Commissioner Viscara?
Thank you. Well, right, I'm aware of previous efforts, and, so I'm not a fan, okay, of the idea. But to think objectively, right, and just put that aside, I guess that my question would be, what problem does this solve? So let's say that somebody wants to donate, $1,000 towards a new K9 officer. So I guess my question would be to the city manager or to you guys. How could that happen right now if we wanted it to? Can somebody make a donation for a particular purpose right now?
City manager?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so they just write a check to the city and you guys put it in a special account? I'm really asking, I don't.
So I think that's a good question, and I asked the same question during the agenda review. So if Susan, if you can please explain, how does it currently work? And I think, by the way, this is a great idea because we should give the public the opportunity to donate as much money as they want to. And if they currently want to donate money, let's say specifically to the PD or to the clerk's office or to whichever office, do we have a mechanism in place to allow for that right now?
So yes, we have in the past accepted donations directly for something specific, and I think PD is a good example. There's organizations that'll sponsor a table or contribute in ways that go directly towards the police. Through Parks and Rec, we've done things where people could, we may call it a sponsorship, but they're giving money to support an event or something like that we're doing. So we do have a mechanism to do that. There is a different, tax write-off depending on which, what you're donating to. But we are a nonprofit, but we're not listed as a 501c3. So there is a slight differentiation, but we can do that now.
So if we wanted to, let's say, promote this, and in the spirit of promoting Commissioner Stuyvesant's idea to really encourage people to donate, is that something that we can start doing immediately? Was that something that we have to do in the next budget year? How would that work so that we can sort of facilitate the availability of people to be able to make those donations? Because after all, we do have a lot of people in this city that are able and probably willing if they knew how to do it.
I think if that is the will of the commission, we would work with the city attorney and the finance director and put together a program to bring back to you.
Okay. Commissioner, Vice
For,
Mayor? do you
for
have
me, I don't, since we already have options for the acceptance of donations, I don't really see the need for another not-for-profit.
Commissioner, go ahead.
Mayor, may
Yes.
I? The one distinction, and I think that this might be more where Commissioner's coming from, is and Valerie can speak to this a little bit better, is it cannot go to a private individual. So
Right.
in the case of the nightclub tragedy, you can't give that money to families to help buried loved ones or, mental health or anything like that. It has to be for a city purpose only.
Commissioner Lama?
That's under the current structure.
That is what we can do right now, yes.
That's what we can do right now.
Right,
Okay.
with city funds, so
So,
taxpayer
but
dollars cannot be
with
used
a
for that.
501c3, we'll be able to give it to a particular person or family? If we
The
do have a-
501c3 does give
will
you
allow
more
us to do that.
leniency, yes, in
Yes,
how you
because it's
use that.
not, I'm sorry to interrupt, because it's not taxpayer dollars, those are private funds that were donated to the entity, versus general fund or tax dollars can't go to private entities, whereas the money that's donated into the 501c3 could. But the caveat with that is, if that's going to be the purpose of the 501c3, then any staff time that's utilized for the 501c3 also needs to be paid out of that 501c3 fund. Taxpayer dollars can't go towards paying the compensation of staff that's operating that 501c3, because obviously that's just, again, going towards private
So
purpose, not
let's run through a
municipal.
scenario. Under the current structure, could we take money from people? Let's say we start a fundraising campaign to help people for whatever tragedy that happens, or we want to put money towards a school. Well, we already donated to a school. But can we take funds from our residents and then donate them to a family? Those are not our
That-
funds. Those
that's-
are not taxpayer funds.
Yeah, that's something that I was going to talk to, Audra says no.
No, once someone donates the money to the city, it becomes the city, it goes into the coffers. And I think that, for me, the biggest reservation is that while I want to give people the opportunity to do this, it's the added layer of bureaucracy that it creates, because we would then have to have a board, and we would have to, they would have to follow very specific rules, and so it creates another, in essence, another company. That's what we'd be creating, in addition to us. So I'm just wondering if it makes sense in this coming year to maybe trial a smoother way of doing it, and then, God forbid, we do have a situation, and again, God forbid, where we would need to get funds to a specific family. I think that we would have then at least some experience with it.
Usually
Yeah.
those board of directors, and like a lot of people like to volunteer their time to be part of this 501c3, it gives you a sense of proudness to be part of the board of directors of this 501c3 that is going to be allocating money to these different, really good causes. So usually their costs are very low compared to the good that they do.
Go ahead.
My question is this a not-for-profit? Let's say we go ahead with it. Would it be under the auspices of the city, or are you looking to create a not-for-profit where you choose the directors?
No.
So
The
it would
city,
be
of course.
under the city?
Yeah, we will have a board of directors and everything, yes.
Right.
This is not my
Okay.
nonprofit.
So, Mr. City Manager, do you see yourself the need for this not-for-profit?
Well, I think ultimately it's up to the will of the commission, whatever you direct us to do. We can accept donations now, as the deputy manager clarified.
So in your asking your suggestion, do you see the need to have additional board members for a not-for-profit for this purpose?
Well, if we're going to establish it, then we would have to have a board of directors
Yes.
that would administer it.
Okay, so again, I go back to the fact that I think that, especially, we had a meeting prior to this. For those of you that were here, you heard the conversation. There are a lot of ideas that we have, and I believe all of them actually are great ideas, but I hesitate to add more to what we already have, because we're stretched so thin, and to direct the city manager to look into this and consider it for, during our budget review meetings. But would it be a huge burden of resources to start the conversation of advertising the fact that we already are able to accept donations, and I ask that very honestly. Please tell me the truth. If it needs to wait till the next budget meeting, then I get it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Before the answer, because it's going to be connected. So right now, if I want to write a check for $2,000 for the city of Sunny Isles Beach, I can do that, just write you a check with no purpose.
Yes, you can.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to clarify that.
I think though historically, for accepting donations, it's gone to city commission, right? To accept the donation?
Yes, we do bring
What?
that to the commission.
Yeah, so it comes to the commission as whether to accept the donation.
So if I want to write a check, I will have to come and ask you guys to accept the check.
We'll have to vote on that?
I really don't know the answer as well, so I'm
So
just
it seems we have a lot of questions about this, that we need you all to come back to us and give us more information so that we can have a further discussion about it, because I think that it does make sense to open up, the coffers and allow people to donate. Why not? And let's just make it as easy as possible for both sides.
Because
So-
in their website, you go to the city of Orlando, you're going to be that little thing on the right, it says donate. So we don't have that right now in our city, so that is what I'm going after, that's-
Okay, well, I think,
But is that donation going to 501c3?
Yeah, to
To the
city of
Pulse
Orlando.
nightclub.
Yeah.
okay. All right, are you all clear with the direction?
Yes, we
Okay.
will research and provide you with more information.
Great, thank you. So we have the add-on item, Commissioner Viscara.
It's my turn. Okay, so I'm not a fan of add-ons, so I apologize. But this is a piece of legislation that is being pushed by the Florida League of Cities, so I'm asking, we don't have a resolution drafted because we didn't have the time, right? But if we can get consensus here, maybe we can just do it separately, approving it in anticipation. This is House Bill 401, which revises the statutory limits on liability for tort claims. And last year, this comes up every year, right, where there's sovereign immunity, there's only so much, when something happens in a public space, there's only so much you can get if you sue. And those limits were set a long time ago, and everybody's in agreement that those limits have to go up. Right now, it's $200,000 per person and $300,000 per incident. And recently it was amended to be 2.5 million per person and 5 million per incident. It's an increase of 1,250% for one thing and 1,600% for the other. And for a lot of cities, that is unsustainable. One incident, there's 100 cities in Florida that have budgets less than 5 million. So with that as amended, we agree that it needs to be changed, but as amended, that could literally wipe out 100 cities in Florida with one bad incident. So we're asking to oppose it as amended. Clearly, it needs to be, we need to work it, but not with these numbers. The concerns are Fort Lauderdale has already opposed it, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and obviously the Florida League of Cities is on record with opposition. And one of the other concerns, other than it's ridiculous, is that you don't want to incentivize litigation. Right? If you know there's a chance you can get 5 million, you might go out there and go out of your way to file something. And the other thing is where you have that level of cap on something like this, obviously it affects insurance rates and it may disincentivize businesses. So yes, it needs to go up, but it can't go up by 1,600%. So that's, so I'm asking the commission, the resolution is not ready to be shown to you, but if we can give direction to push it along, I would appreciate it.
Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, I agree. We'll wipe out a lot of cities, and even some cities here around us that I know have budgets that are less than 5 million. So, yeah, I support that. caps need to go up, but not by that much, for sure.
Yeah,
Commissioners?
likewise. So we didn't have time to make it a resolution, but we can vote now to make it.
We can ask Valerie that question, but
Yes, as long as you guys vote on it, then I can do an after-the-fact resolution memorializing today's actions.
And we can vote right now.
Yeah, right?
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
you
yeah.
can take public
That-
comment.
Right, we have to take public, okay.
Yeah, that will be my suggestion. Yeah, I completely agree. I read it too, the recommendation, and they're gonna be lobbying very heavy on that in Tallahassee, and it just makes sense. So if we can, through the chair, agree to make a resolution and vote on it, so it can be ready for the next meeting. Yes, exactly, and send it over there to
No,
Tallahassee.
we would do it now,
Push next week.
we could
Yes.
do it now.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Vice Mayor, did you have anything to add?
I agree with that we need to not have the limits go up as high as they're intending.
Yeah, I also agree. I have to say that I think that it is pretty incredible how engaged this commission is with what is going on in Tallahassee, and that's really important because that's what we should be doing, is fighting for this sort of thing, and so I appreciate that. So what, as far as process is concerned, do we need to open it to public comment right now?
So if we can, sorry, Mayor, if we can just have a motion, then open it up for public comment, and then we can have the
Okay,
vote for it.
so Commissioner Viscar, do you want to make your motion?
My motion is to direct the city clerk's office and the city manager to prepare a resolution in opposition of this bill as amended. I guess that's it.
Okay. Do we have a-
And
With,
I
is
think-
that with
actually opposing.
With lower limits?
Opposing for one, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a two-part motion. So directing staff to formalize the commission's action or consensus into resolution and opposing the House bill.
So
Got it.
a
Okay.
motion directing staff to formalize our consensus and in opposition.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, now, public comment. Is anyone would like to speak on this? Going once? Okay, so, so now we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, Commissioner Lama, you are up also with an add-on item.
I'll be very brief. So, a few months ago, we discussed the construction of an independent police station. We started the discussion, then we moved on to looking at perhaps some, different scenarios in what is the Navarro right now. And obviously, this is a long-term type of project, but I just wanted to resurface this and kind of just let people know how important this is for us to have an independent police station for several reasons. One, obviously, and the bottom line is for safety. I think by us having a standalone police station, one, it will be a deterrent to a lot of things that could happen in the city. And also, the police will be more at ease and they will have their own home where they could operate better and I think in a more efficient way. It is a big undertaking, I understand that, but for that reason, I would like to propose a workshop just so we could rehash and resurface some of these topics, take a look at that proposal, the plans and the budgets for that, et cetera.
So I appreciate you adding this on, even though it is an add-on. I think that we do need to give the public an opportunity to see that same proposal and to have the time to know about the meeting so they can attend the workshop. Do you have a proposed date and time that you would like us to consider for the
I was thinking
workshop?
sometime in March, but yeah, we'll have to take a look at some
All
of the
right.
dates.
Is there any opposition from the commission to have a workshop? Okay,
No.
so we'll have the city manager's office schedule something so that the public will have enough time to get notice, and could we share that report?
Yes.
Okay, it's online, or,
And yes, we will schedule a workshop for
okay, because I haven't seen it, I don't know how large the file is, so I'm not sure exactly how that would happen, but I'm sure you'll take care of it.
check.
Okay, Deputy?
No, I was just saying we could set up a webpage for that project specifically with some attachments.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we are Citizens Forum.
Citizens Forum, we have 2 registered speakers. The first one is Martin Chaddock.
Hi.
So,
Your name and address for the record, please.
hi, my name is Martin Chaddock, and I'm a resident of Sunny Isles for the past year and a half, and I moved here from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm actually one of the good guys. I have to put that out there. And one of the reasons why I chose to live in Sunny Isles is I'm a huge fan of the past, the present, and the future. I mean, I think the city has evolved like tremendously, and I'm also an artist, and I created a picture a while back, and I sent it to Mayor Goldman back in October, and she loved the picture, and I wanted to donate it to the city, because I think it would be good in the hall or any type of building, even on a trash can if necessary. But I feel strongly about it, and I got a nice email back from her saying that it has to go through the city manager, and that it would have to be brought to the commission. And I didn't hear anything back for a couple months. And when I followed up, and they said that they were forming a public arts committee in January, and I figured, you know what, I haven't heard anything back, so I figured I'd follow up now, if that's okay, to find out if that committee has been formed, if I could show you what I did, or take it from there.
So, thank you. I don't want to cut off your time if you had
Sure.
more to say. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Brooklyn. And we do have a committee. We actually had a workshop earlier today talking about committees. So that is, as far as I know, that's still an open committee. And they have in the past made those recommendations because we actually do have a lot of artists that live in the city that often have asked to donate some of their art, like the dolphin that you see out in the lobby. So I'm sure you can get with the city clerk to give you information about that
Okay.
that committee. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we see your
Can we
artwork?
see your art? Yeah, hey, don't go. I want to see it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Take
This
the
is just
time
a
to
print.
come
What I
down. Let's see.
proposed is, it's an actual canvas. It's the same size. And
Very cool.
Oh, very nice.
That's the old,
Very cool.
All the
Very
motels
nice.
and the Rascal House.
way
and-
better than the t-shirt.
Very nice.
Very nice. Very
thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for coming down.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Joel Benarock.
Hi.
Congratulations to our new mayor, the
Thank
vice
you.
mayor, and all the commissioner.
Thanks,
you.
Joel. Your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is
Thank
Joel
you.
Benaros. I live in Bay Country Club, 17720 North Bay Road. I also heard we have one of the best chief in our city.
The best.
The best police department. I always meet a lot of them. So hard to explain. My dad passed away 12 years ago. My dad made it easy for me and my mother to be happy living, keep living in Sunny Isles with my mom. And as we get older, our building is so corrupted, so much chaos. They're so corrupted, they shouldn't be allowed to live in our building. We've been living there 32 years in this building. The first 20 years were so wonderful. It's not, besides the maintenance keep going up, the first 22 years was wonderful to live. Our maintenance went up 3 times, in 2021, 2022, and 2023 to 1,050, because of 2 individuals who live in our building. One of them moved in 2013. Since he got on the board in 2014, created a lot of chaos, a lot of problems with company doing not good deals, but doing deal for him benefit. Got free impact windows by the company called USSI. I can prove it. You can see him yourself. He had impact window in his apartment. And I heard he signed 10 different contracts with them without the rest of the board members. I can't prove that, but I can only prove he got impact windows from this company. His friend, he moved into our building February 2018, got on the board since 2019. Between them, we've been getting back-to-back lawsuits. Way too many lawsuits. Way too much chaos, corruption because of them. Between them, we can't afford to live in our building anymore because we're going to be paying over $1,000 maintenance because a lot of insurers do not want to insure a building with corruption, lawsuit, chaos. They don't want to convert that. It makes me so sad. Nobody's not willing to do something, go after them because it's not normal. One of them only been there 10 years. The other one only been there 5 years. Between them, we have all the lawsuit because of them. We have one now. They tell you in your face. They remove our shutters. The company USA removed the shutter, and the board tell us, sue me. 3 times in my building, in my apartment, sue me, like he's the owner of the building. His name is Garrett Jenkins.
Please don't name anybody.
Okay, I won't name him, but they're corrupted. It has to stop. If I get help from all of you, we can stop all this corruption all through the building, the whole city. Because in our building, it's only 80 units, 9 floors.
Thank you, Joel.
But it's sad. It kills me. My mother, it makes me cry so much.
I know.
These people are very bad people. They only been in our building 10 years. One 10 years, one 5 years. They're creating all the lawsuit. And there's more coming.
I know. Thank you.
Joel, take one of my cards, would you?
Hold, we're not going to go back and forth. I just want to say that I met with Joel, and there are, you can have a seat, thank you.
Thank you.
And the fact is that this is something that has been a topic of conversation, not just in the city, not just in South Florida, but in all of Florida, because we are known as the condo land. We, as you see, we have a commission that's very engaged with legislators in Tallahassee. In fact, next week, we have the Florida Condo Ombudsman coming in. I think there's still an opportunity to make an appointment. I don't know if Myra is here, if there is. And we can have further discussions about it. But as we have discussed, you know, the fact that it's private property, we have, we're limited, but we can also have further discussions about it. So I appreciate you coming out and I know. It's every building.
Joe, it only takes one people. Only one bad people can make your life miserable. And I know that by personal experience.
So, yeah, no, we can't hear you. So we get it. We really do get it. So please know that, and we're not at all passing the buck by saying that it's out of our control, but we will work to help you as much as we can, and not just you, all the residents. I know, but you can't be speaking from there. I understand. You can come up and say one more thing. Yes, please.
The last word. I know you can talk to our governor that passed a new law in the state of Florida. If you want to be in the board, go for it. You're going to sign an agreement. If you're going to tell somebody, sue me, you're going to be responsible. This should be accountable. This should be accountable creating all this lawsuit.
I understand.
If we create that, if we could do that part, the governor could sign it and pass a new law, the insurance industry will lower the interest rate, start lowering, because there won't be any more lawsuit in the building. Because of them, we're going to end up, also the last part I want to tell all of you, they took an $800,000 loan against our building because of the last lawsuit. And we still have more coming.
Yes, regrettably, we can go for days with personal stories, regrettably. Thank you. Thank you, Joel. Do we have any more?
No, ma'am, that's it.
Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.